Hi, my name is Chukwuka Monye, and I am an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Chukuka and his firm have been involved in the growth stories and incubation of a number of successful products and companies, including the City of Lagos Monopoly Game, House of Tara, and the Healthcare Leadership Academy, a leadership institute for the healthcare sector with collaborators such as Cambridge and Duke universities. I'm interested in knowing how Ciuci evolved over time.
Yes, I know you're doing all this work, consulting for these guys, helping them scale. What was your primary focus? So starting out, I'm sure you've scaled into other industries, maybe other sectors, but what was your core focus at launch?
So when we started, there were two sectors.
Okay.
Telecommunication and financial services. So we did quite a bit in the banking space. We're helping with post-merger integration. That was the time a lot of banks were merging. And then also with telecommunication, we provided a lot of support, from capacity building to training to strategy development to sales and marketing campaigns, all sorts of creative things. So a lot of our initial work was in that space. But the challenge with consultancy, with advisory businesses, there are only so many operators you can serve, right? Once you do this for this operator, they will tell you, no, you can't do for me. So it was inevitable that, over time we had to sort of expand. So we're now sector agnostic. We provide services in healthcare, for instance. Retail is also a big area. Then from a capabilities perspective, research, analytics became really strong. People were requesting for a lot of the research, the materials that we're producing. And the other area was just your regular strategic planning. End of year, people want to plan their strategies, etc. They will call us to help them, support them with that.
Amazing. So, there are certain, keywords that pop up when one is looking for you. Innovation strategist. You would hear corporate development. Consumer intelligence expert. But tell me, you've been talking about your projects. What's that one exciting one project that you executed that still excites you till date?
All projects are exciting. The way we look at the projects, if we're not excited from the conceptual stage, we probably won't do it. When the promoter of Bestman Games for the City of Lagos Monopoly came to us, she said she had gone to other consulting firms and they didn't even understand what she was trying to achieve. For us, because it's also a youthful organization, we like things that are exciting, that are innovative, So we say, okay, this is Monopoly. This is how this edition, is in the UK or in the US, the standard one. But if we want a Lagos edition, what are we going to do differently? What is interesting? What will be exciting about a Lagos edition? How would you do things like, go to jail or, that was exciting. And immediately you see the team getting to work, brainstorming, coming up with exciting ideas. So for us, as long as that kick is there, that excitement to think differently, to brainstorm, come up with new ideas, we're good.
All right. So I'm sure in the course of building this, firm, Ciuci, that's over a decade old, I'm sure you've encountered unique challenges, possibly unique to this market. What were those challenges, and how did you overcome the challenges to make the strides you've made so far?
Okay. So very interesting. I'll give you one quick story. So I'm a Christian. And one of the things you would know as a Christian is that 7 is a significant number. They say 7 is
Perfection.
it's perfection, right? It's completion. So for me, Ciuci has done well. And when we turned 7, I said, yes, we have arrived. I didn't realize that arrival was,
Was coming with some other type of arrivals.
In fact, it was something else. And that was the first year we couldn't pay salaries because some clients did not pay their bills. They didn't pay. And it was a bit shocking because when you read a lot of business school books, they tell you by the time you cross 3 years or 4 years, you've scaled, you're good. I said, these people have scammed me. I said, but 7th year, we had a situation where clients back to back, those that you had as backup, that, oh, if this one doesn't pay, this one will pay. Or if this one doesn't pay, this one, all of them failed. And the last thing you want to tell your colleagues in the office, your employees is, and you see what had happened was that we're expecting this, but we need to inspire you to hang in there.
Difficult conversations.
Difficult conversations to have. But I would say that for that particular moment, we had amazing, incredible staff. I'm talking of months of being unable to pay. It was a difficult, very difficult moment, because I even took a personal asset and sold it in order to pay. And after paying, most of the employees resigned. So I felt like I was starting from the scratch. It was a rough moment, rough moment. As a matter of fact, I was asking myself, why am I doing all of this? That I was even earning more as an independent consultant than trying to build people, because I transitioned from me to, people. I felt it was a people business, that consulting is just the sort of the outcome. But the real deal was that I was building people's capacity to be able to offer services to the market. But I just remember that I'm the same person that would advise a lot of people, encourage a lot of people, inspire a lot of people that no, you've got to keep going. I think there was this sort of moment one day that I said, you know what? We're not going down. Woke up, said, okay, how much in the red are we? We came up, we brainstormed with the accountant and everybody. We're bringing this baby up again. And from nowhere, I don't know where the energy came from. We just started to think outside the box, come up with all sorts of new solutions. We started to do something with that. We're selling market reports. We started to produce something for the banking sector. So we have this annual banking report that we started to do. All the banks were purchasing, they were buying it. We just started to come up with things and started to turn around the business. So very, very pivotal moment, to be honest. But we kind of came out. We're here now.
Amazing.
Being able to talk about it.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
That's a good story. In the course of building this as well, you mentioned that people failed to pay you, which may have implied that they were also failing in business at the time.
Not necessarily failing in business. Sometimes it's just bad just bad behavior and just,
Just not people who would choose to do business decently.
decently.
Right.
Decently.
Okay. So would you say you failed in the course of building this business? And if so, how did you fail?
I won't call it failure, just because of the way things were able to turn around. Failure for me would have meant that I gave up at year 7. So I think that ability to recognize that the robustness of the foundation for me was very rewarding. I can recall that when we turned 10, we celebrated it at the stock exchange. And that was a proud moment for me, because we didn't even use it as a time to celebrate us. We used it as a time to celebrate our clients. So we brought about 10 of our customers and just celebrated them, because that's, for us, that was the testimony. That was the outcome of all that sort of resilience over the 10 years. So I wouldn't say failure. If things did not go beyond the 7 years after that situation, then I would have said yes.
Okay.
But that ability to sort of turn it around for me is what was successful and exciting about that moment.
Okay.
Chukuka is currently the Director General of Delta Economic Summit Group, a private sector-led think tank focused on influencing and delivering positive and strategic change, most especially economic development in Delta State. As the inaugural DG, Chukuka hopes to work with the strong membership to promote socio-economic development by fostering collaboration between the private and public sectors. Successfully working with people is critical to any business's success, and building a structured business is important to building a scalable and sustainable organization.
So you went from being a one-man army to building a team of people. What is your current organizational structure, and what is the thought behind the structure you currently have?
Okay, so we have a very, very it's a matrix structure. So you've got the managing partner at the top, and then we've got other partners. Some partners have coverage over geographic locations. Then we've got partners that also cover certain functional areas. So someone is a partner in charge of operations, for instance, and finance, people experience. But we also got partners that are in charge of Ghana business or Kenya business and things like that. So it's a matrix, because they all sort of serve each other one way or the other. They sort of cross support each other. So that's the kind of structure we have.
All right. So what values would you say are important to you and to your firm?
Partnership, integrity. Partnership is key for us because of how we work internally within the organization, and how we also expect to collaborate with our clients. We once we go in, as a matter of fact, our strap line for our brand is "To Your Future." We're saying that the moment you engage us, we're already toasting to your future. It's a done deal, because we believe that this collaboration, this partnership is definitely going to yield fruits. Yeah. So partnership is key. Integrity. It's still sort of tied to doing business decently. Because ultimately, one of the things you find is, I tell people, the top cadre of the market by the time you're doing very well, you've gone through a lot. So the expectation for most of the people in that segment also is that you're someone who's gone through a lot, and for that reason, integrity also becomes your watchword.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And yours is a business that has crossed borders. You're not just operational in Nigeria, but you've moved into some other markets. You did mention Ghana, and I believe you're also moving into, or have moved into East Africa
Yes.
as well. What would you say are those unique differentiators, that you've encountered between the markets? Because from outside, looking in, especially from the Western perspective, Africa is one huge country. But I'm sure you could even educate us now, even from doing business across those territories, as to what those unique differences may be as far as doing business.
So I'll tell you something that I found very interesting, and and also exciting.
Okay.
So in trying to move into some markets, one of the things you find is that you cannot look at Africa and Africans as one block, because we think very differently, especially from different regions.
Yeah.
You could go, and when you speak to someone in East Africa, they'll tell you that sometimes they're a bit skeptical about West Africans, not just Nigerians, not just Ghanaians, West Africans as a whole. And you ask why, and you can tell it's just because they've not interacted and they just heard certain things. So one of the things that we are using our reach and network to do is to begin to integrate Africa. And let the world know that it's possible, for you to actually be present here in Kenya or wherever and be in Accra and Lagos. And it's working, and it's one entity. And we are all sharing the same values. That's what's driving us. We want to use it to begin to close some of those gaps, because they do exist and they're real. Where someone says, Fab, no, you're from Ghana. No, Ghanaians are like this to us. Even within the same West African region. There are clients that will outrightly tell you, no. From which office are they going to do this work for us, that it matters? I said, no, it's the same company. They said, yes, but who is the person? They want to recognize the name. Is it the name they're familiar with or not? These are certain things that exist that we can continue to help to fix.
A number of Chukuka's published work have been featured in the Nigerian media, as well as on CBS, NBC, and Huffington Post. His work seems to have traveled, and so has he.
All right, I know you're a very well-traveled man. But you tell me, how has traveling and interacting with different cultures and people added value to you and basically shaped your person and business?
Traveling, it has changed me a lot. Fab, I was very shy growing up as a teenager. Very, very shy. In fact, I used to stutter. My first flight to the US, I think I went from Lagos to Frankfurt. Then from there, I just had mostly Americans because we're going straight to Florida. And I met just Americans on my flight. And they were very chatty. This is me, very shy, quiet, Hey, how you doing? Hi, how are you? Just talk the entire flight. I was just like, man, this guy. But what was interesting is, in no time, I started to open up as well. I would find myself reach out when I meet people. I was doing what they used to do to me that I didn't like. It changed me. I became more extroverted in a way. I would have my moments where I would still sort of retreat, So it definitely has affected a lot of the way I do things. Traveling definitely has.
Okay. So we know that human resource is a key element to consider, when building any organization or enterprise. Tell me, how do you typically hire?
So we have something we call the analyst training program. And our process is that all we need is to get some of the best minds and best, people to attend the program. It's a 6-month training program. Essentially, the idea is that it's just not enough for us to get intelligent people, that we still need to spend time and invest in you some of the fundamental skills that are required in this job. So you come in and you go through what is more or less a mini MBA program for 6 months. We call it the analyst training program. By the time you graduate, if you graduate, then you just continue riding to full employment. So that's one of the things we've done. And we had to do it because if we're talking about a society where, the educational system has been weakened a bit, then you need to find other ways to sort of augment whatever you're getting. Yeah. And we had to come up with a solution. We didn't want to depend on when this, issue will be fixed.
Okay, amazing. How would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style, I think, is a style that embraces openness, a lot of flexibility. I believe a lot in letting people be themselves, Now, and I say that because we're in a society where people often design stereotypes and tell you that this is what you need to become, or this is who you need to become for you to excel. And I don't subscribe to that. I believe that a fab can be the best fab. Chukuka can be the best Chukuka.
So what are the key skill sets that you believe a CEO needs to either acquire or have, to be successful at managing people?
Empathy. Empathy. Big. Communication. Communication. How do you communicate with your people? How do you communicate with your peers, your team leads? How do you communicate with your team members? Then just building rapport and good relationships with everybody. I'm talking from the security guard to everybody. Being a good human being, for me, is like the ultimate skill. I think that most times CEOs forget that ultimately you're dealing with human beings. And once you remember that you're dealing with human beings, you would see that the way the humans would also respond to your leadership.
All right. What's the biggest letdown you've experienced in business so far?
I think that a number of them that I remember is sort of tied to people just not honoring their words. Whether it's a contract, whether it's, something they said verbally. But, if you say you're going to do A, just do it. Just do it. Because many times people are acting based on the words that you've made. Your pronouncements are the reasons why somebody went to do ABC. So just do it.
Chukuka's recent popular quote is, "Customer is not king. Customer is the kingdom." Seeing he rules in this kingdom, he definitely works long hours, but how does he unwind and what are his lifestyle choices?
All right, so I have a few quick fire questions for you.
Quick fire.
What do you love to eat?
Swallow.
How would you describe your style?
Easy, casual.
Okay. What other CEOs do you currently look up to?
I'll say a lot of the tech CEOs, like Zuckerberg.
What's your favorite car to drive?
Not crazy about cars.
Your favorite brands to wear?
Only one, Chukwuka Monye,
Your favorite travel destination?
Florida.
Favorite book of all time?
God is my CEO.
All right. And what book are you reading right now?
None.
All right. So lastly, I would like to know, Chukuka, what makes you happy?
Being able to rest. Being able to relax with people that I love. Being able to see results of my effort. And being able to rest when after I've seen the results. That's what makes me happy.
Thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Chukuka.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Chukwuka Monye, and you too can be an under 40 CEO.